Welcome to the S.O.S Veteran Educational Resources Spotlight. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the S.O.S Lifeline. And now I'm just tripping myself up for no reason. I don't know what's going on. I can't even get the name of the organization out. So, so we're brought to you by the Who You Know Network and proud members of the Parade Deck community. As always, I'm here with Dr. Hira. You're going to have to do all the talking today because I can't seem to do it at all. How you doing today, Dr. Hira?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to learn about a school that I'm not as familiar with. This is my nerdy side coming out. I love learning about schools, and I'm glad the community gets to do so alongside us.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's going to be a technical type thing that I think a lot of our audience is going to be interested in because we're military and this is right up our alley in many cases. So today we're sitting down with Jarred McNeely, Chief Academic Officer at Sonoran Desert Institute. Jarred has been advancing the quality of post-secondary education for over a decade and holds a Master of Science in Organizational Leadership, a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice, and Associate of Occupational Studies in Gunsmithing. Nice. He joined Sonoran Desert Institute as the Dean of Firearms Technology in March of 2021, advanced to Vice President of Academic Affairs in March of 22, and assumed his current role as Chief Academic Officer in January of 23. Fantastic. How are you doing today, Jarred?
Doing well. Thanks, Sean, for having me on and getting to talk a little bit about the school.
Oh, we're so happy to have you on here and excited to learn about this program. When you and I talked before, it sounded like a really cool program that people can get into and a field that there's a huge market for. So I'm very excited to hear more about this. But before we do that, let's talk about your military transition real quick. How did that go?
Yeah, my military transition was 19 years ago. If I had to sum it up in one word, it was abrupt. I was stop lost on a deployment, got home, and was out of the military in 30 days or less. So my head was kind of spinning. Luckily, my wife allowed me to take some time off and get my head straight and that kind of thing. And I went back and finished my criminal justice degree at the time. And so it was abrupt, but she made it much easier for me. So I'm very thankful for that.
I have not heard that term stop loss in a minute now. It still makes you
been a while.
Oh man. All right. So how did that, from the abrupt transition to now working in, the education field, a higher education field, how did that whole thing happen?
Yeah, it's funny as a non-commissioned officer in the military. One of the things that I loved was training my soldiers. I've always enjoyed that, and so it kind of transitioned when the post 9/11 GI Bill came out. I had opportunity to go back to school, and I was looking around for what I wanted to do. And like you said earlier, Sean, loved to use my hands. I wanted to work with something, so I went back to gunsmithing school and. Lo and behold, come to find out that I love working with my hands, but what I really love doing is working with students who are working with their hands in that technical field, So pretty quickly went back to the school environment after graduating and worked my way up through running the schools and getting the administration side and that kind of stuff. And it's just been fascinating. Had some great mentors. I had a Marine who was the owner of the school that was just an awesome mentor to learn the education process and administration under. And so just, great chance to give back to other veterans as I'm working alongside them. So.
I love it, Dr. Hira, when we're talking to NCOs. You
yes.
can always see that passion come out and the higher ed, it's like the perfect landing spot.
Yeah.
Because you love to train and teach. It's fantastic.
Yep, exactly. It absolutely is. It's a great place to be, and it's a neat niche market. The gunsmithing side was an easy transition for me. I was a cavalry scout, so I was in reconnaissance. So working with weapons was something that came naturally, and so it was an easy transition. But then as I moved to SDI, and not only do we have the gunsmithing piece, but we've got the drone piece that's up and coming too. And it's another one of those hands-on fields that, there's so much growth in it and so much room for people to learn and do, and so many different paths for them to take, whether that's, being the operator or being the maintenance tech or being the person that's running the fleets, all of that type of stuff. So.
That's great. For people who are a little less familiar, maybe with the technical school and what that programming looks like, do you mind just covering briefly what that is and what are some of your programs that you've already kind of started to highlight?
Yeah. So we've got 5 programs right now. We've got 3 on the firearm side. We've got 2 certificate programs, one in gunsmithing and one in handgun specialist. And then we've got an associate's degree program on that side as well. The handgun specialist program is a 4-class program, pretty quick, but it's focused strictly on handguns and how do you learn all those big concepts of how they operate so that you can work on just about anything.
Nice.
And then the gunsmithing certificate brings in some of the other classical pieces, how to mount sights and ballistics and some of that kind of stuff. And then the associate's degree adds on a few more pieces like woodworking and those types of things, but also adds in the gen eds because it is an associate's degree. So it gives that chance to kind of round out your education, learn a little bit more about the world, so on and so forth. And then on the other side with our drone programs, we've got a certificate of uncrewed technology in aerial systems. So, the base level kind of idea of what a drone is, how it operates, what you can do with it, that type of thing. What's it take to become a pilot that's got their license through the FAA or their certificate through the FAA. And then we've also got an associate's degree over there that again just adds on, geospatial stuff and different cameras and thermals. And I'm now well outside of my complete understanding because my background was obviously in the gunsmithing side, but it's neat to see an up and coming technology that is really starting to take off.
That's
I had
awesome.
no idea you could get an associate's degree in drones or gunsmithing. That's like fantastic. Now, you alluded a little bit to the licensing when it comes to being a drone pilot. It's part of the course actually working towards that, or do they still have to do that separately?
They still have to do it separately because it is specifically through the FAA, but we do all the prep work with them so that they're confident to go into that test. Yeah.
For students who
So
are,
it's
veterans.
amazing.
Yeah. The timeline, you're saying, okay, again, people may be saying, okay, licensing after, from start to finish, you mentioned certificates, associates. What are some of those timelines in which somebody would be enrolled so they can understand what that looks like compared to, that bachelor degree?
Yeah. So it can be pretty quick. We don't run on spring, fall semesters. We start new groups of students every month or about every 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're always starting somebody. We're always graduating. The student body's always moving a little bit. It's kind of fun. But the timeline for handgun specialist and for that certificate of uncrewed technology is 20 weeks. It's 4 classes, 4 5-week classes, one at a time, right in a row. Goes pretty quick. That gunsmithing certificate averages about 8 months, depending on whether they go full-time or part-time. It can stretch out to a year if they go part-time, that kind of thing, and then associate's degree, because it's compressed is about 14 months. But again, if they go part-time, it can stretch out to 2 years, so on and so forth. So pretty quick stuff for somebody to get in and get involved in an industry.
It's wonderful because, again, depending on people's needs, interests, that thought of I'm going to be in school for how long? That's why these technical programs and opportunities are so critical, especially, again, if you need a different timeline and obviously get a very valuable skill to go out and hit the workforce. How is that partnerships or opportunities for students completing programs in terms of community partners, industries? What does that look like in terms of, okay, I get this certification or this degree. How is there a bridge or support maybe to employers?
Yeah, we've got a career services department that is working with employers across the country, looking for positions for our students to go into, our graduates to go into. Those are sent out to our alumni pages and that type of thing. So they're actively working on that piece. Obviously, we can't guarantee a job. I don't think any school can. Because, I think we all know a lot of getting a job is personality and fit the culture. And so, but they're actively looking for those opportunities out in the world, so that we can put those in front of our graduates and allow them to try to make that step into the industries they're looking for. So
love that.
Yeah.
So of your population, are the majority of them, is the majority of who you're working with, veteran related, military connected, or are you pulling in all kinds of students, and what's that kind of breakdown look like?
Yeah, we're pulling in all kinds of students. Historically, because our population flexes so much with that monthly start and graduation. Historically, we've seen about 50% of the students being military connected.
Wow.
We still see some active duty students that are using tuition assistance. So we've got a little mix of all. We've got somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 students at any given time. So, that gives you an idea if we've got the majority of them, that 50% range, that gives you an idea of how many military connected students we're working with. So.
Is there any plan in the future to add additional programs?
We're always looking to add things. That's one of those things that being an accredited college, we've got some rules around what I can talk about and what I can't, but we are always looking to expand and provide offerings. I think the one thing that's really interesting with us is that these are hands-on programs, right? These are things where you've got to do stuff, and it's all online delivery. And so we're delivering all of what is the theory online with a faculty member tied there that the students can engage with. But then in most of our classes, our students are getting some kind of kit of materials and being asked to do the hands-on and either video or photograph themselves and turn that in to get feedback from their faculty members. So as we continue to look at other programs that we might consider offering, we want to keep that feel, because that's one of those things that really has resonated with our student body, is that hands-on, the lab in their living room kind of idea.
That's fantastic, and I think that there's so many different opportunities out there. Just in talking about your two areas of study right now, then I started thinking about like locksmithing and how in the physical security side, our physical security managers went to a whole bunch of lock things and things like that, and then of course from there having to crack into safes and things like that. There's just so many different areas just in that one alone. So I love the fact that you guys are looking at potential ways to grow and expand like that. Are you also doing the same thing in the different types of partnerships and things like that? Because when we first met, this is an organization I hadn't heard of before. Are you trying to get more involved with different organizations, like maybe police or military, things like that?
Yeah, we're always looking for how we can collaborate with people, whether that's organizations that our students can move on to, or even whether that's other educational organizations. We've got an articulation agreement with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, so that our students can go on to, if they want to go on and get a bachelor's degree, they can do that, and they know exactly how that flows in. And so we're always looking to expand those as well. We've got another one with Liberty University as well. So just looking at what we can do to give our grads options as they step out into the world and give them a chance to be successful. A ton of them come to get a job. Some of them come because it's an opportunity to learn a set of skills that they're just interested in. And they're not quite sure where they're headed in the world. Well, hopefully we can give them different horizons to look at and opportunities to consider.
If somebody is interested in your school, is there a point of contact they should be looking for? How does somebody actually connect and kind of get through that enrollment process?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to jump on sdi.edu. And there'll be a button on there that says enroll now, and that'll get them in contact with an admissions rep, and they can start through that process. And I won't purport to know all about that process, because I'm on the education side of teaching students. but that's the fast lane to getting in contact with somebody that can walk them through and
Excellent.
and help them get enrolled, help them make sure that they've got how they're going to pay for school taken care of, all of that kind of thing.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Well, goodness, time is flying today. I don't know what. I'm loving the conversation. I just got caught up, but in 60 seconds or less, is there any final piece you'd like to talk about in terms of the school or the program you're overseeing for our community to learn about?
Just the last thing is for all those vets out there, me being one of them, education is something that can't be taken away from you. Whether it's coming to my school or going to another school, it doesn't matter. Go out and get education. Find something that you're passionate about. Get some education about it. Be cognizant of what you're doing, and just be ready to help grow the world. That's key to it. It takes all of us to make the world go round. I think we all decided to serve in one way or another, and now we get to serve in a different way, and sometimes that includes getting a little more knowledge. And so look for where that place is that hits your heart, and go out and be good at it.
Spoken like an NCO.
Yeah, I love that. That is a beautiful note to end on. So thank you, Jarred, for joining us on Vet SOS today. On behalf of the Vet SOS family, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You can find the Vet SOS podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and social media. Make sure you subscribe and follow Vet SOS so you don't miss a thing. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet SOS lifeline.